Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Big crowd tonight. As always for tax rate hearings, always a crowd. All right, adoption of addenda for tax rate hearing. Under the provisions of the public meeting law of the state of Missouri, the board must adopt by a roll call vote an agenda that includes a date, time, place, and tentative agenda for this special meeting. A copy of the notice and agenda for this meeting was posted on Wednesday, September 18, 2013, at the Administration Center, 1005 Waterford Drive, Forest, Missouri. A copy of the notice for the tax rate hearing was also posted on Wednesday, September 18th. Was also posted, sorry about that, at Florissant City Hall, Berkeley City Hall, Ferguson City Hall, and the Ferguson Public Library. At the same time, copies of the notice and agenda were mailed to major radio and television stations, to 4 newspapers, to all municipalities, schools in the district, and posted on the district website. A duly executed waiver and consent to hold this special meeting will be signed by the Board of Education. Mr. Chabot?
I move that we accept adopt the agenda.
Second.
I call the roll.
Call roll.
Mr. Hebert?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Schrader?
Aye.
Mr. President Morris?
Aye.
Whoever I am, I vote aye. Assistant Secretary.
Very good. Well, the tax rate hearing, the state law requires the Board of Education to hold a public hearing prior to certifying the district's tax rate. Board members have received a report showing the proposed tax rate by funds for the 2013-14 and the amount of revenue those rates will produce based on the assessed evaluation of $890,456,200. Figure provided to the district by the St. Louis County Department of Revenue and based on the assessed evaluation reported as of January 1st, 2013. The proposed rate for funds and qualifications are provided on the estimated and required local taxes. The next 30 minutes are for people who would like to, after Ms. Madrusa gets through talking, if you have any questions or comments.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for attending this evening's tax rate hearing. We are trying to set the tax rate for the year 2013. As Mr. Morris said, we are required by law to set our tax rate every October 1st, and we set the tax rate for the operating funds as well as for the debt service rate. And we are required by law to hold at least one public tax rate hearing, and the notice has to be posted in at least 3 places. However, we did fulfill that. We put it in those other places as well as at each school and on the web. So we did post the notice on all those places. And we also had it posted here at the Administration Center. The information that we're required to present is the property values for the current and previous year in each of the 4 categories, and that's residential, commercial, agricultural, and personal property. We're also supposed to show you the anticipated revenue that we will be generating from the proposed property values and rates. We have to break out the proposed tax rates by fund and also identify the portion that comes out for new construction and reassessment. So in order to, I wanted to give you a little background because the tax rate's really boring, but I wanted you guys to kind of understand where it comes from so that you would understand how we have to come up with these numbers. We received preliminary assessed values from the county, and the county sends these numbers out. They're supposed to be to us by September 15th. We get them September 15th, and this year they continue to change. And from what I understand from other business officials, they have a, St. Louis County is really good about changing their numbers and not getting them correct at all times. So these numbers that I have are based on the numbers that we had as of Friday. Well, I looked on Monday too, so as of Monday this week. So they are different from what you have in your packets because they did change from the time that we prepared the packet. The value, so what the county sends us is the assessed valuation. They also send us the TIF information And that amount has to be deleted from the assessed valuation because we're not going to be receiving taxes on that assessment. We also have to know what the consumer price index is for the year ending through April, and that was 1.7 this year. And they send us the amount of new construction in the district, and then we also get a letter from the Missouri State Auditor's Office in May if there's any changes to our prior tax rate. We did receive our letter from the Auditor's Office, and there was no change to our current tax rate, so we had all that information. Once we get that information, then there's actually a form that you just put all that information into, and it's just called a pro forma, and all these yellow areas, you just fill in all the yellow areas, and it computes all the information in the background. Now, you all did receive this pro forma in your packet. It is a little bit different right now because the numbers did change on Friday, but that's the pro forma that I have to fill out that gives us actually the rate. So last year, the prior year, 2012, I put the numbers on, I wanted to compare apples to apples. So the numbers that you see on 2012 were the numbers that we had on our pro forma from last year that we sent to the state. So as you can see, we had $987,569,590 in assessed valuation. For the current year, the information that I have now shows that our total assessment is $893,742,60. The change in assessed valuation was 10.286%. We were aware of this change with our preliminary numbers in April, so it's a big amount of change, but we were given this change earlier in the year, so we did know that we did foresee this coming, as you all know, and we worked really hard on this budget cut. So we did foresee this change coming in our assessed valuations. The revenue that we were anticipated to collect for 12-13 would have been $46,810,799, and our assessed collections anticipated for 13-14 would be $42,363,347. So the change in revenue is $4.4 million less than we received or were assessed the prior year. And again, we were aware of that change in the spring. We did have some TIF and new construction. The post-board of equalization assessment roll on September 15th, the number for real estate only was $694,479,650. There's also a number that we get for personal property, but this was for real estate. The TIF values that we received on 9/23 were $26,155,780, and again, you have to reduce your assessment by that amount. So our total real estate assessment is now $668,323,870. We also have some new construction that is coming up, and that's $1.1 million. Now, the Missouri Hancock Amendment is an amendment that actually helps the taxpayers. So if you're in a district where your assessments are rising, then the district is set, there's a limit that the district cannot continue to bring in more revenue, and we have to tax and roll back our tax rate when we're receiving more revenue for the assessments. But as assessments decline, we are also able to increase the tax rate. Until the Hancock Amendment, there's a maximum authorized rate, which is the tax rate ceiling. So it does save the taxpayers that we can't continue to raise taxes past that ceiling because we just hit the ceiling and then we have to stop raising the taxes. So our assessed valuation data reflected an overall decrease in assessed valuation of 10% from the prior year, which resulted in a reduction of revenue of $4.4 million. And because we're at our tax rate ceiling, we are not able to raise our tax rate any higher than 4.74 that it was last year. Now, on this tax rate calculator, you put in this calculator and it shows you what you could have raised your tax rate to before this Hancock Amendment. And we could have raised it to $5.28. That doesn't mean that we would have, but that we would have had the capability before the Hancock Amendment to raise it to $5.28. Since we're not receiving that 54 cents increase in the tax rate ceiling, we're not going to receive that extra revenue. So we're proposing a tax rate which is the same as it was for 2012. For the operating funds, it'll be $4.74 across the board with residential, agricultural, commercial, and personal property. Our debt service fund, we were able to maintain the 30 cents. So our proposed tax rate for 2013 will be $5.04. This rate is, again, unchanged from the prior year. And we also have to break it out by fund. We have different funds in the school district, and so the general fund will get $1.92. The special fund will get $2.82, and that makes up the $4.74. And then the debt rate service will get the 30 cents, which makes the total tax rate $5.04. The total revenue that's going to be generated from the proposed rate, so we had the total assessment as of 9/15 of $893,742,060. With a tax rate of $5.04, we should see, in a 100% collection rate, we would receive $45,044,599.83, with $17,159,830 going to the general fund, $25,203,534 going to special, and then $2.6 million going into debt service. Now these numbers again are estimates. These numbers can change again in mid-November. The county will send out a new assessed value at the time of billing because people are still protesting their taxes. And then we will get a final number then on December 30th. And that's what's reported and certified by DESI then. So the tax rate process, I just kind of wanted to review it so that you would know how that process goes. Is we do receive the prior year revision from the state auditor's office. We check it off, make sure it's correct. Then we collect all the data from the county, from St. Louis County. We put it all into this tax rate calculator. And then we hold our public hearing and say what, demonstrate what our tax rate is going to be. After this hearing, and once you approve the tax rate, then we will submit this calculation to the St. Louis County by October 1st so that they can review it. And then they review it and send it to the state auditor's department where it's authorized then. And the new rates on the assessment are on the December bills for the same year in which the rate is authorized. And collections can begin as early as November, but most of our money comes in December and January. And then we continue to collect until June. And then in June, those collections are considered delinquent. So does anyone have any questions regarding any of this information or the tax rate? No questions?
It says 100%. What do you usually get?
In the budget, I put 96%. So we've been seeing 95, 96% collection rate. And so that would bring it into to about 42 million.
So the 42 million was with that 96.
It was with the 96% collection rate. And in the budget, I think it was 93 something. It's a difference of about $500,000. But again, these numbers will change.
Sure.
Well, if there are no other questions, then I would recommend that the Ferguson Florissant School District tax rate be approved as follows. The operating fund at $4.74, the debt service fund at 30 cents with a total tax rate of $5.04. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anybody in the audience have any questions or comments? We have to wait till 7 o'clock to hold the vote because you have to allow people to come in the half hour that we have the public hearing.
I know it's riveting stuff.
Paul, as long as we're waiting, I do have one question. Laura, do you know, can you tell us what area the tax increment financing are?
Actually, I can. It is down there with the Express Scripts area.
Okay.
The majority of it's right there. There is a little bit up by Cross Keys somewhere, but the majority of it is down at Express Scripts.
So we just have the two places.
process of tax abatement? It's not,
Is it 10 years already?
Yes.
I think we've already had 10 years, and so we've got about 10 or 12 more years left on it.
Okay. And Rockies,
Huskies, I'm not really sure what that development is. So I don't
it's probably not on that big.
No, the Express Scripts area took most of that. And Express Scripts does work with us. We have a meeting with them, and they're making donations towards some of our different programs. So we are losing money through the TIF, but we are trying to, they do try to work with us and help us with some different funding issues.
Well, they should.
yeah.
It's 7 o'clock, can we go?
Yes.
Good luck, fine.
All right, 7 o'clock, I need a motion to accept the tax rate here. Tax rate.
Second.
Go ahead.
Moved by Mr. Schrader and seconded by Mr. Ebert to accept the tax rate of $5.04 for the coming year. Any discussion? Seeing none, Mr. Debo, would you call the roll?
Mr. Ebert.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Schroeder.
Aye.
Mrs. Hogshead.
Aye.
And Secretary votes aye. Mr. Martinez.
Aye.
And Mr. Morris.
Aye. Seeing no further business for the tax rate hearing, need a motion to adjourn to executive session.
So moved.
Second. Moved by Ms. Hogshead, seconded by Mr. Martinez to move to executive session. Mr. Rupp.
Mr. Ebert.
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Schroeder.
Aye.
Mrs. Hogshead.
Aye.
I vote aye. Martinez. Aye. And Mr. Morris.
Aye. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Thank you.
Pleasure.